Yo, what's going on, Remedy Nation, man? The reason why I'm so excited is because I know what you are about to get during Studio 415 podcast today. Now listen, over the last few years, we've done a number of financial series, right? Right now, we are in Money Mindset, where I am trying to get people to understand that finances play a significant role within your family. Now, last year we had a very major finance series, but really what made it better than most is because on Wednesdays we got the chance to dive in with a specific expert to teach you about some things that they know about their specific fields. So instead of my wife and I coming to you today, what we are going to do is we're about to replay one of those today, and I believe that it is going to be very, very helpful. You're going to hear from Asia Lewis, and she's going to talk to you about debt and killing debt, the significance of killing debt. In her opinion, she doesn't even want to use credit. I don't stand by that. I believe that credit can be leveraged properly. But once you hear her mindset, you will realize that she has been debt-free, no credit card, but has been able to make significant impact in her life and in the lives of those who she is around. Can I say something about her? And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. She helped my wife and I on our debt journey. We sat in her courses, we sat in her class, we sat with her for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'm telling you now, we had never ever in our lives killed more debt than we did when we sat under Asia Lewis. So this is not just us talking to you and giving you someone who says they're an expert. We are giving you a person who is proven not only in the world, but here it is, proven in your pastor's life. We did a series last year titled Money Talks, and I'm wondering, what is your money saying about you? Do you have too much debt? Do you want to figure out how to get from out of debt above your neck? Well, I believe that today is the day that you will learn something. So listen, as you posture yourself, grab your notepad and your notes page, grab your iPad and everything else in between that you use to take notes. And I want you to tap in with Asia Lewis as she talks about killing debt. Watch this. Yo, what's going on, Remedy Nation, man? Listen, I am so excited to get with you guys today, man. You already know that we're in a series titled Money Talks. And I'm really trying to help you understand, man, that God cares about all of you. Holistically, He wants you to build your life spiritually, mentally. He wants your family to go to another level. But hear me and hear me well. He also wants your finances to go to another level. We've already talked about three things on Sunday, right? We've talked about earning, we've talked about spending, we've talked about saving. For the last couple of midweeks, I've had my brother, Laurice Purnell, who wrote a beautiful book called Financial Foundations, and he sat here and talked to you about generational wealth. And today I have another person who's near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if there has been a person who has positively impacted my finances, other than the person I'm going to introduce you to today. I think I've killed the most debt under her tutelage. And I just believe that what she has to say today is going to resonate with 90% of the people here. 10% of you are here just to be nosy. But the other 90% who's here to really get gems, to try to figure out how to take your life to another level, this is the session. Man, so today I want to welcome you into today's midweek, but I want to introduce you to, I'll let her put herself out there, but I want to introduce you to my sister, a woman that I've had the opportunity to serve with for years, who poured into my wife and I in seasons where we really needed it and we really needed you. I want to introduce to so many my friend, my sister, Asia Lewis.
Wow,
Come on, I receive, man. I receive. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the invite.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I just want to jump in. I just want to jump in, and however much of your story you want to tell them, whatever the case may be, How did you get started in FPU? For those who may not know what that means, that's Financial Peace University, right? So how did you get involved in that so that we can help people understand?
Yeah, no problem. So thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate my brother here. I got started with Financial Peace University through a text message. Believe it or not.
Okay.
It all started with a text message. So one of my friends sent me a text message with a picture of the Financial Peace Kit and said, hey, I'm going to be taking this class and getting my finances together. Me already having a love for stewardship and a love for finances, I said, yeah, I'll take it, no problem.
Yeah.
And I thought at the time that I was actually doing well with money until I actually got the course and started to take it. I said, no, Asia's not doing so well as she thought. So at the time, my status, it was in 2013, I was 35 years old, and I had $50,000 in non-mortgage debt with a $120,000 mortgage. In addition to that, I had no savings at all and no retirement saved. But I thought I was doing well because I had the appearance, right? I had the home, I had the car, I had things, but I had no money. So I started to take the class and started to follow the baby steps and started to follow the plan. And in 3 years, I eliminated the $50,000 in debt.
Wow.
I sold the home, so then I'm totally debt free.
So you sold your home.
Well, I paid the $50,000 and then I sold the home.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So now everything is, good. I've been able to facilitate the class now since 2014, so that's about 8 years now. And so many people have made so many different strides in the program. So that's it. But yeah, that's how it all got started.
No, that's dope. And similar to you, I remember you have a really close relationship with my wife. And I don't know how we got to your class. I don't know if it was a conversation between you two. But I remember us I think we were living all the way in Berea. And we would travel to Cleveland Heights or Mayfield, which for those who don't know, that's not like around the corner, right?
No.
So we would travel there once a week. But we noticed that our finances were drastically changing, and things that we were struggling with for years to get off of our back, we were getting rid of in weeks. Like we only sat with you for 9 weeks, and we got rid of stuff that we couldn't figure out how to get rid of in 9 years. And you were very specific in what you taught. And I remember these 7 baby steps. Can you help us understand like what those steps were to try to push people to understand more?
Yeah, so when Dave Ramsey first started the program, the essence of the program was to get people to make progress one step at a time. Because a lot of times what we do is we know that there are things we have to save for retirement. We have to save for an emergency. We have to buy a home. We have to kill some debt. But when you start to do things at the same time, you don't make much progress. So what he did was he curated these 7 steps or 7 goals so that you hit one at a time so you would make more progress. But actually what happened with me was before I started the baby steps, I had to get current on all of the bills. So that's what he actually teaches first, is to get current on your bills. I was behind on the light bill, the gas bill. I was behind on everything. And what I find now, especially when I'm doing some individual coaching, is some people would be current on the MasterCard, but they'll be behind on the gas and electric bill. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So before you can even start those goals, you have to get current on all of your bills. And then it calls the 4 walls. And the 4 walls are just housing, your utilities, your food, and your transportation.
Now, what are the 4 walls again? Say it again. Make sure you guys are paying attention. It's on the screen right now. Say it.
So housing, which will be your rent or mortgage.
Okay.
Make sure that that's current.
Okay.
Make sure you have adequate food.
Okay.
And then you have to make sure that your utilities are paid to date. So because you know that illuminating company and the public power will allow you to go 2 to 3 months before they actually turn you off. But that causes so much stress. It causes so much anxiety when you start to get past due on those things. So you have to get current on that. And then fourthly would be transportation. So make sure you're current on any car payments or gas and oil. And if you are current on all 4 of those things, then you can fight to live another day. Then you can start the baby steps.
So the 4 walls before you get to the 7 baby steps.
Correct.
All right. I got you. That's good stuff. Pay attention. Pay attention. And the reason why I think this is important, right, because there are so many, right, debt resolution companies and, things you should do here, that, and the other. And then similar to what you're saying, a lot of people are just compounding things on top of being irresponsible, right? You know what I'm saying? So your bills aren't paid, but you're like, I got $1,000 in the bank. Well, what does it really matter? Right. Like if you're 2 months behind on your car note, because that's not real money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you're right. Get the 4 walls together, and now that ushers you into like the baby steps,
Absolutely.
The 7 steps,
The
or
7 baby steps, and that actually gives you more peace, because when I got current on those things, just to start with, I used to walk in my home and go, like I felt so much peace after that. So that's actually good stuff. Now, secondly, you want to make sure you have your budget. So the budget program that Dave Ramsey uses is called Every Dollar. So Every Dollar is the budgeting system which allows people to make sure that all of their finances are in a budgeting category.
Okay.
So your income minus your categories is exactly 0, which means not $0, but every single one of your dollars that you work hard for, that you put up with crazy bosses for, crazy customers for, that they're being assigned and they have a mission. So you go to rent, you go to utilities, you go here, you go there, and then it makes sure that you're in control of your money.
Now, what is that called again?
Every Dollar. You
So
can
Every
go to
Dollar.
Every Dollar, right? Either everydollar.com or the app. Every Dollar. It's absolutely free. Anybody can use it. So that's why I would highly recommend. So now going into the 7 baby steps to goal. So the first goal after you're current on your 4 walls is to save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. Yeah. So I read an article recently in CNBC that said that 50% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency or more.
Ooh.
So you can just imagine how people in the pandemic felt.
50%?
50% of Americans cannot cover an emergency greater than
So that's not
$400.
black, that's not white,
No,
that's
that's
not
it.
Hispanic. That's 50% of America total
Yes.
can't handle a $400 expense or emergency.
Exactly. So if you get in an accident, or if you have to go to the hospital and have to pay a deductible, you don't have enough money to take care of those things. And then it turns an inconvenience into a crisis, because you no longer have the inconvenience, but you have the money issue as well. You're compounding those issues. So the first step is to save $1,000 for the starter emergency fund. Right?
Why aren't you a preacher? She said, no, pay attention, guys, online. She said, when you can't do these things, a simple inconvenience can become a crisis. And I don't know about you, but I've been in situations where I have a simple inconvenience. Maybe it's a blown tire. Maybe it is, something that pops up, your refrigerator goes out, or, you may need a new freezer, whatever the case may be. What's a simple just inconvenience for many, it becomes a crisis because you don't know if you can actually do it because we haven't, done what we needed to do when it came to every dollar. I know last week we talked about a zero-based budget, and it was assigning, giving every dollar an assignment.
Yeah.
So it's not you're broke, it's just that you know where your money is located.
Absolutely, because the money is just active, right? It goes in, it goes out, it flows. That's one reason they call it currency, because it moves and it ebbs and it flows. But until you actually take control of those dollars and assign them and give them a mission, they're going to go to Amazon Prime, they're going to go to Target, they're going to go to Walmart, they're going to go, all these other places.
Yeah.
And then you look up at the end of the year when you do your taxes and you said, I made $50,000, $60,000. Where did all this money go?
Yeah.
Because we weren't paying attention. I know I wasn't paying attention initially.
Yeah, I wasn't either until I met you. I'm going to tell a story. All right, first step, save $1,000. What's after that?
After that is my favorite part, which is to eliminate all of your debt using the debt snowball.
Some of your debt.
All of it.
Not some of it, though.
No, all of it.
So hold on. So even while you're still sitting here, you're 100% debt free.
100% debt free. Yes, sir.
So eliminate all of the debt.
All of your debt, right.
Okay.
Right.
Keep going.
In Proverbs it says, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Okay. So you don't really realize that you're a slave until you're free, right? So what the debt snowball does is that it gives you a plan and a process. And basically, this is how it works. You list all your debts from the smallest to the largest balance, regardless of interest rate.
Okay.
Right? You make minimum payments on all of your debts except for the smallest one. You're going to attack the smallest one with a vengeance. You're going to work more. maybe work a little overtime, get a little side hustle, sell some things, reduce some expenses in your budget, and then you're going to focus clearly on that smallest debt. Once that debt is gone, you draw a red line through it, and whatever you were paying on the first debt, you now add that to the second debt. You still make minimum payments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then once that debt is gone, then whatever you were paying on the first and the second payment, you now put on a third payment.
Okay.
And it just kind of snowballs its way, and then next thing you know, you're like free. So the average time for people to get out of non-mortgage debt in this process is between 1.5 years, 2 years, which would have taken them like 10 years to get rid of. Yeah.
1.5 years.
1.5 years.
So you're saying if I'm paying $100 on MasterCard right now,
right,
and I pay off my MasterCard, and my second, let's say, is a $300 car payment, right? So I'm paying $300 on my car payment right now. I killed my MasterCard, but because I was paying $100 on my MasterCard, I put that on my car payment.
Absolutely.
And that means I'm giving my car payment $400 now.
Yes, right.
But then because I'm giving them $400 and it exceeds the minimum payment, then that goes directly, to the principal versus any interest that we occur or accrue because of the loan.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually want to do that. And the reason why the snowball is so effective is because you begin to believe. A lot of people don't get out of debt because they simply believe that they can't. They'll say, well, I'll die with the student loan, or I'll die with the car payments, or I'll always have a car payment, because they simply don't believe. But when you start to see one debt go, and then another one, and then another one, you start to believe, and then next thing you know, you're out, you're done. So that's the first one.
Okay, what's next?
So what's next is now that you're current on all of your 4 walls, you have your $1,000 saved. You've gone through 1 to 2 years of killing all of your debt. You're feeling really good at this point.
Okay.
But I don't want you to take your foot off the gas.
Okay.
So whatever you were paying on baby step number 2, getting rid of your debt, you're now going to return to the $1,000 and raise it to a fully funded emergency fund.
Now, what's a fully funded emergency fund?
So
you obviously not talking about $1,000 anymore.
Oh, no. $1,000 is just to take care of like little, ancillary things that you have. But now we're talking about fully funded, because you can have a job loss. You can get sick, or there could be a pandemic that happens.
What?
Yeah,
a pandemic? No lie.
Yeah.
You talking about something can shut the whole world down?
Believe it or not, yes, sir.
I've never heard anything like this. Keep going.
Yeah, so you raise it to a fully funded emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So during this period of time, you've been budgeting, so you know how much per month your expenses are. So it's nothing for you to know what that number is.
Yeah.
So typically people go between $10,000 to $25,000 just sitting cash in the bank. So just imagine how that feels emotionally. You're out of debt and you have $10,000 sitting in the bank.
So you said 6. Now, what's funny about this is, I don't know who's watching, who just probably listened to the last weekend's sermon. I believe that there was this young, skinny guy on stage preaching, and they probably looked at him crazy when he said, you have to have at least 6 months saved up just in case something happened. And I mean, there was one lady, she just walked out. I really didn't know what she walked out for at the moment. I was like, dang, I think I offended her. Because I feel like in the church, we struggle, and I say we as a collective body, we struggle with money. But when the preachers talk about money, it's like, that's not what I needed to talk about, as if they don't want to get better in those areas. But you're quoting scripture as you're going through, right?
Yeah.
So, wow. So 6 months worth of expenses. So 10 to at least 25,000 sitting in the bank.
At least that's just the average, right?
Okay.
So Proverbs, I believe that it says, in the house of the wise there are stores of choice food and oil, but a fool devours everything that he has. Right. So the wise person saves money, right? It's a wise thing to save money. There's nothing wrong or bad about it. You're not hoarding. It's there for a purpose.
Why didn't you come preach this weekend? Keep going.
It's there for a reason. And I remember I had something go wrong with my car, and it was like $2,000 job or whatever. And so the guy calls and says, Miss Lewis, I'm sorry, this is going to be like $1,600 or so. All right, go ahead and do it. Now, had that been like 10 years ago, I would have been like, $1,600, who has that, And I said, go ahead and do it. He says, really? I should go ahead? I said, yeah, just go ahead. It changes everything, right? It's almost like you're chasing the black cat. It's like you have control now over the situation instead of the situation controlling you. So I read an interesting statistic that said a married couple who has $10,000 in debt and no savings,
Yeah.
it's like 70%, 70% higher to get a divorce than a couple who has no debt and $10,000 in savings.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
so all of this thing, if you have all of this debt and you don't address it and you have no savings, it exasperates the relationship, right? Instead of just, just go ahead and getting it done, and it's like, it just changes everything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So go through the other steps, right? Because I know those start getting, really heavy when it comes to investments and things like that. Go through the other steps so that we can make sure that we get it out to the people,
Yeah.
right? Prayerfully, we'll explain these another day, another time, because I got a whole host of questions for
That's
you.
okay, no problem. So baby step number 4 is to save 15% of your income into tax-favored retirement. That can be your 401k, 403b, Roth IRAs, and such. But again, you don't do that until you get the first 3 steps done first.
Okay.
Then baby step number 5 is to save for kids' college. That can be in a Coverdell ESA or education savings account or a 529 plan. And then baby step number 6 is to pay off your house early. So you would pay it off like you would pay off a car note within like 5 years or less. So that's that step. And then the 7th step is just to build wealth and then just give a whole bunch of it away.
Build wealth and give a whole bunch of it away.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people don't like that one. They don't like that one. So my question for you then, in that case, because I hear you talking about, paying off your debts and things of that nature, right? And staying current on bills and things of that nature. So are you saying that in that case, if we're current on credit cards and things of that nature, then it's okay to have them? I mean, so what's your take on credit then?
Okay. So I used to have debt, right? I used to have a credit score, I used to have credit cards, but I had no money. Okay. Then I started to work the program. I no longer had a credit score, but I had money. Right? So the scripture is clear. The rich rules over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. But I didn't necessarily, it wasn't like roots or anything like that. I felt like I had handcuffs that were on me. So the debt was restricting me from doing what ultimately I wanted to do. I wanted to give more. I wanted to invest. I wanted to take trips. I wanted to bless people. But because I was obligated to the lender, I wasn't able to do that. So with this process and even getting rid of the credit score and getting rid of all of the debt.
What do you mean get rid of your credit score?
So after you've paid off all of your debts and you closed all of the accounts, 6 months later, you will not have a credit score.
Wait.
And 30 million Americans do not have a credit score.
Wait. You said pay off your credit cards, but then after you're done paying off your credit
All your debts, period.
So you just don't have a credit score?
No. It's called indeterminable. Because I don't
But you need a credit score to get a car, don't you?
No. You need money to get a car. You need money to get a car. You don't need you don't have a credit score to get a car.
So if I go to the car lot right now with no credit score and I say I want that car right there, what happens?
So, and you have to have the money, of course, right?
So you got to have it in full.
You have to have it in full, yeah.
Okay.
And what you do that, you budget for it. So if you're already in a car, you're already paying $400, $500 a month for it, you just save a car note to yourself, and then 10 months later, buy a car. Yeah. It's called common sense, actually, but
so you don't have a credit score?
No, sir. No, sir.
So you just cause a whole bunch of ruckus when you go to the car lots and whatever.
No, they
else.
don't like us. They don't like me very well at all. No, because most of their their revenue comes from credit. They're there to sell you the debt, not necessarily the vehicle, but they're there to sell you the debt. But I wanted peace more. I wanted that peace of mind of having a paid for car versus having to, finance it. So.
Okay. That's major. All right. So question.
Yeah.
So my whole thing right now is I'm really trying to push our church to think about finances just really from a biblical perspective.
Yes, sir.
Right, from a biblical perspective. So those who are bound by the weight of debt, car note, leases, and they're like, okay, there's no way for me to have a car in a sense right now. Like I can't buy a car, cash. I can only operate by this car note or whatever the case may be, or I'm locked in for the next few years. What's your advice for individuals like that then?
So Proverbs 6 says, if you have signed surety for yourself, my son, and have been snared by your words, do this. Meaning, if you've gotten yourself into debt, here's how you get out. You deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the hand of the fowler. That means you go so hard on killing that debt like your life depends on it, because your life depends on it. Because when there's debt, there's a threat. When you have debt, there's a threat of somebody coming repossessing that vehicle. Can you imagine going through the pandemic and you had to be sent home and you can't pay your car note and they come and get it? The borrower is slave to the lender, right? So you don't own anything until you have the deed, the title in your hand. That would just be my advice, is just to get rid of it as fast as possible, because, and I mean really focus on it, because the longer you have that debt, the longer the threat is always going to be there, even if it's current.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's say I'm on a leased vehicle. I'm on a leased vehicle and my 3 years, it's up. My 5 years, it's up. I can technically turn my car in and get something new, the next day. What would be your advice for them then?
Okay, so my great-grandmother, I love her. She's gone to heaven years ago, but she would say something that says, prepare for trouble in the time of peace. Meaning you have to look forward to when you already know you're going to need another car. So you budget to replace that car for when you turn in the lease, right? So you turn in the lease. Now you have the money that you've been saving during that period where you were paying the lease, and you can buy a car and drive right off the lot without a note. Now, it may not be the quality that you like right now, but you can always save more and move up in car later. Yeah. So, but the peace of mind that you have with not having that car note and not having that lien on the car, much better. But a lot of people, what they do is they just keep paying for it and they don't prepare to replace it.
Okay.
If you prepare to replace it, then you don't have to have a life of car payments.
Understood. So now, just from a biblical perspective, right? Because when we start talking about finances, what I've come to find out is that people don't like to mix Christianity and finances, for whatever reason, right? I mean, they just don't want to talk about money in the church, or they don't want their spiritual leaders. They don't want ministers and elders and deacons talking about this. So, from a Christian perspective, I know Dave Ramsey is a believer. I know you're a believer. Now, how does your faith tie into all that you are teaching people in this season?
So all of the baby steps and everything that's being taught in the program is all rooted and grounded in Scripture. So if you can read a whole book of Proverbs, you have a master's degree in finance right there. But in First Chronicles, it says something like everything that we have and then everything that we give out comes only from your hands. So since the Lord gave us the money in a fiduciary relationship, I'm entrusting you with this money. Handle it this way. We have to handle it in His way for His glory in order for it to go well with us.
Okay.
Right? So it's like if you're married, you need God in order to have a good marriage. So if you handle money the way God wants us to handle and manage the money, it will go well with us. To try to separate the two, you can be a millionaire without it. You can follow the principles in that, but you won't have the peace. You'll have the financials, but not the peace. You see what I mean? So, yeah.
So, question. So, when we start talking about this debt-free life, and when we start talking about paying cash for everything, right? And doing what you can do and not stretching to a place where you overextend yourself. Some people may say, well, in that case, I'll always settle for something that I don't necessarily want. I may want the $200,000 house or the $300,000 house or the $400,000 house. Now, I can get this if I get a loan and I can make the payments. But if I pay cash, maybe I can only get a $150,000 house, and I just don't want to settle for the rest of my life. Like, how would you combat that conversation?
So don't extrapolate where you are for the rest of your life. So don't take where you are and just make it the rest of your life to justify and reason a way of getting something that won't be a blessing to you in the end. So I shared with you, I bought a home. I've lived on both sides of the coin. where I had the credit score, I had debt, I financed everything, and then now I'm living a debt-free lifestyle. When I bought the home, I paid no money down on the home. I, got it. I had car note at the time, credit card at the time, but it was a nightmare. Things broke down. People didn't pay their rent like they were supposed to, and you don't understand the risk that is involved in that. Yeah, I had the house, but I had debt, stress, and worry every single day. So if we're talking about settling, that's living a debt-free lifestyle really isn't settling. So what's define best? Is it best to have peace with no debt, or is it the best to have the things and debt, stress, and worry that comes with it? Anything given by the Lord, you will never have to stress or worry about it.
So. That is so good. That's so good. So, in terms of investing, right? And I want to touch it a little bit. The only reason I want to touch this a little bit is because we are in, I feel like, an invest-heavy culture right now. I was talking to Larice not too long ago, and I said, with all of the PPP loans and, all of the ways that the government is giving assistance and money, you get money just for having kids. Like, you can do whatever you want because, they're funding this. And, all this quote-unquote free money. And now, you find out our dear president just hired somebody to go after all of these fraudulent PPP loans. But, despite all of that, we're in a very invest-heavy culture where everybody's trying to do something to gain more capital, whether that's real estate, stock, whatever the cryptocurrency, I don't know. What would be, according to you or what you believe, what you've been taught, what are good investments in this day and age? Okay. Like, property, real estate, like what is it? Like,
Yeah, so after you're out of debt and you have your emergency fund funded, I kind of liken that to like building a home. So you would never start building a home if you don't have that foundation first, right? So once you're there, you want to put your 15% into good growth stock mutual funds, into your retirement plans at work, 401k, Roth IRAs, and as such. When we start talking about cryptocurrency and stocks and things of that nature, those things are highly volatile. So you're going to go up and down. Yes, spread your portions. Yes, and 8, but you never know when disaster is going to come up on the land. But you're gambling. You might as well go to the, to the roulette table or to the blackjack table if you're doing those types of things. They don't have a long track record. So the main thing you want to do with investments is to make sure you put it into good growth stock mutual funds, which the program describes, and how they're going to, explain how that works, because they have a track record of at least 50 years in the stock market. So you don't want to put your money into anything that, first of all, you don't understand, and second of all, is highly volatile, and you don't want to do it just because, Lord help us, Instagram said do it. You know?
I mean, a lot of people doing it. It's a lot of Instagram financial advisors out there.
But you know what I found is like a lot of people are kind of desperate because they see that they made money mistakes in the past. So now they're just trying to shoot for the moon and shoot for anything in the dark to say, oh, I'm just going to gamble to see if crypto is going to save me, or if a single stock is going to save me, or gold is going to save me, that sort of thing. But the principles are tried and true. So you want to go with the things that are tried and true. And then so the mutual funds is the way to go.
So, man, you're amazing to me. I got one question. So for every person that takes FPU with you, how much do they pay you to do this?
Nothing.
So they pay you nothing to do this?
No.
So why do you do this?
Because, I'm so glad you asked that question, because when I took FPU and it changed my life, I'm like, the people around me didn't have this information. So if I can be a conduit to facilitate the class, then everybody around me wins. Because I'm like, the people perish because of lack of knowledge, right? So if I can help facilitate and serve God in this way, it makes me come alive, like Pastor say. It makes this.
So how many students do you think you've taught, if you had to guess?
200 or so, maybe.
How many have followed through the process that you can know of, like this actually doing, and still applying those steps?
Yeah, at least half that I know of. At least half that I know. So, Scripture says, some of the information can fall on this good ground or stony ground. So there's some people who got it and said, but I'm attached to my credit card, or some people would say, yeah, I'm doing well, but then this happened and then I fell off. And then you have some people who says, you know, I'm in it, I'm doing it, and I'm having so much success. So I hear stories about all of them, but I'm here for all three.
So the credit card for your emergencies, that's not it. Because I hear that a lot.
It's illogical to go in the hole for an emergency. It's illogical to go in the red for an emergency. So you want to have the money available for the emergency because it will happen. I want to be positive, but I'm positive it's going to rain.
I want to be positive, but I'm positive
It's going to rain. Yes, sir.
All right, last few questions. So you're debt-free.
Yes, sir.
It took you how long to kill your debt?
3 years.
It takes the average person how long to kill their debt when they do the debt snowball?
Between 18 to 24 months, so maybe a little earlier, a little later. If they do it earlier, it's because they may not have as much debt. But then some people may take a little longer, like myself, because I had a bigger hole. But on average, 1.5 years, 2 years.
You taught over 200 students.
Approximately, yes.
The baby steps work for you.
It worked for anybody.
So explain number 7, because that's almost countercultural.
Yeah.
You know, when we start talking about gaining wealth and generational wealth and putting things up for the bank, in the bank, so on and so forth. But now 7, you're saying give it away. So help me understand how that's logical.
Yeah. So broke people can't help broke people, right? So in order for you to help people, you need money, right? So, and it's to do it on a grand scale. So the first 3 baby steps, you're probably just tithing only. That's probably your extent of your giving. And then the next 3 baby steps, you're giving a little more, you're helping out here and there. But 7 is when you give outrageously. That's when you have so much money. You don't have a car, you don't have a house payment anymore. Just imagine if you didn't have a house payment. What could you do? So you can buy a $2,000 car for a single mom, right? And give it to her. Do that 10 times. That's baby step number 7. Or you can give, if Americans only gave just 1% more in their giving, there could be 50 St. Jude's out there helping kids with cancer. That's the grand scale that baby step number 7 is talking about. That's when and many people, when I ask them, why are you taking this class? Because I want to give more. I want to help my family. I want to help my niece get into college if her parents are unable to do so. Or I want to take a trip. I want to go on a mission trip and things of that nature. So we have a heart to give because we're designed in the image and likeness of God. He's a giver. So we naturally want to give. But when we're strapped with debt, then we can't do that. But number 7 is definitely to go.
And what's really cold about this, and we're going to end with this, I just remember Dave Ramsey kind of changing his mantra, right? Because I remember him always saying, live like no one else. And one day, you will live like no one else. I'm telling you, I remember living by it. I'm like, it's okay right now. Because eventually, I want to live like no one else. And I'm telling you, I lived my life by that for so long. And then the man comes out with a book and he says, live like no one else. So that one day you can live and give like no one else.
Absolutely.
And I saw the switch. And then I noticed, like you said, we're made in the image of God and God is a giver. Yeah. So if we say that that's who we want to replicate, then we can't hold everything like a hoarder.
Absolutely.
We got to give it away.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good because it's more blessed to give than it is to receive, and it's one of my whys. So when I first started this program, people thought I had 3 eyes. They looked at me like I was weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you changing your car? Why are you not going out to eat? Why are you making these sacrifices? And then I got a call from a family member who didn't ask for any money. You know, she just was just talking, and then I was able just to cash app her some money. And then so she called back. She says, no, I don't want it. This is your money. It should go in your account. It should just be for you. I said, well, what good is it doing in my account if you need it? Because otherwise that money would have gone to the car note, to Sally Mae, to credit cards. But because I made those sacrifices, I'm able to now live and give like no one else.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, Asia. 30 seconds. To give the people one last nugget, because you're a guru in this in my mind. I'm gonna take your class again. I'm just letting you know. But 30 seconds. Tell any person that's living, watching right now, who's living the average life, right? Nothing bad, nothing good, just making it day to day, what would be your last 30-second bit of advice to them?
If you believe what this culture teaches you about money, you will get cultural results. But if you live by what the Redeemer says to do with money, you will have Redeemer results. So Jesus says in John chapter 8, I am the light of the world. He who follows after me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And this topic about money is a very dark topic for some people. You know, they've gone through bankruptcies and repossessions and foreclosures and divorces. But when you filter all of that through the word, there's light. So there's hope. And I love the way the Lord does it, where you're going in one direction that'll lead to destruction, and then he'll say, here's the way out. I'm giving you the option to go the way out. Deuteronomy says, I said before you life and death. Choose life, because death is going to look attractive. Death is going to look like car payments and student loans and credit cards, and that's what death looks like. But choose life so that you and your descendants may live.
Oh, how could you be missing this? Please, man, watch this over and over and over and over again. Watch it tonight. Do whatever you need to do in order to get this information, because I am a living testimony. Well, I pray that was a valuable conversation. You heard me asking questions that I hope you would have been asking if you were in the room that day. This weekend, this coming weekend, I am preaching on debt, and I'm preaching something called the reverse card. Oh my goodness. We got handouts, we got illustrations, we got a whole bunch of stuff planned for you this weekend, and I cannot wait to experience service with you so that we can change our money mindset. Listen, for those who are watching, maybe as you listen to us talk and dialogue, you heard us talk about our faith a lot. Yeah, what she is doing, she is introducing faith to the ideology of canceling debt. Therefore, we don't have debt because God paid it all. And maybe you didn't know that. Maybe after watching this, you said, man, I didn't know that Jesus was so intertwined with our financial stability. Well, he is. And if you don't know Jesus, this is a great day and a good day that you can get to know him. There's a number on the screen right now. If you text that number, I promise you there'll be someone on the other end that will text you back. And the whole goal is for them to be able to say a prayer with you, the prayer of salvation, where once you give your life to Christ, then you will see that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Then you also may be watching right now. We're talking a lot about money during this particular season, and I am unashamed about it, because I believe that if we get that together, oh my goodness, how much more could we do for our families and the kingdom of God? For those who are watching, you know how we do it. I don't ever demand anything, but if you feel like this Studio 415 session was valuable, then please sow where you grow. If you felt like you learned something, then sow where you grow. What if I told you that the reason why you have not been able to reap a harvest is because you don't have many seeds in the ground? Today, put a seed in the ground so that we can see the harvest in your life and also in the kingdom of God. Well, I appreciate you for watching today. I pray that it was as valuable to you as it was to me. And I cannot wait to see you next time. Well, just know, I love you. My wife, Pastor Lisa, she loves you. The Remedy Church, AKA the Remedy Nation, we love you. But God, he loves you so, so much more. Peace.